So today I want to talk about strength. And tell me, who is the strongest person in all of the Word? Who do you think? The Lord is the strongest person in all of the Word, of course, no question about it. Now, do you know who might be the strongest person in the Word who's not the Lord? There's somebody whose name was Samson, and he had amazing strength as a gift from the Lord. He was one of the leaders of the children of Israel, or one of the judges. And before Samson was even born, the Lord sent a message to his parents saying that Samson's going to be a Nazirite, which means that there are two rules he has to keep his whole life long. He can never, ever, ever drink wine, and he can never, ever, ever cut his hair. And if he kept those two rules, never drank wine and never cut his hair, he would have amazing strength. That was the Lord's promise. And while Samson was alive, Israel was at war with people called the Philistines. And for a time, the Philistines ruled over Israel. And so Samson fought with the Philistines a lot. And you can imagine the Philistines started to really not like Samson because he was too strong. And so they sent an army to the children of Israel. And that army said, "Give us Samson. We want you to tie him up and hand him over to us. And if you don't, we'll hurt you." And so that's what the people of Israel did. They tied Samson up. And Samson even said he was okay with that, as long as they didn't kill him themselves. And so they tied Samson up, and they left him there in the wilderness, and then the Philistines came. And this is how the story goes. When he came to Lehi, the Philistines came shouting against him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became like flax that is burned with fire, and his bonds broke loose from his hands. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand and took it, and killed 1,000 men with it. Then Samson said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men." So it was when he had finished speaking that he threw the jawbone from his hand and called the place Ramath Lehi. Then he became very thirsty. So he cried out to the Lord and said, "You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant, and now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised?" So God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, and water came out, and he drank, and his spirit returned, and he revived. So there Samson was, all tied up. And what did it say happened to his ropes when the Spirit of the Lord came upon him? What did he do to those ropes? He snapped them like they were nothing. And then it says that he found the jawbone of a donkey. And I have a picture of that. Picture of the jawbone of a donkey. It's just a part of the bone that makes up a donkey's skull. So you see just a bone, piece of bone that he found lying on the ground. And what are those? You know what those are? They're part of the bones, but they're in the donkey's mouth. What do they look like? They're teeth. These are the donkey's teeth, still attached to the bone. So it doesn't look like much of a weapon, does it? If you think about it, what would the Philistines have had? They were soldiers. They would have had armor and spears and shields. And what do you think is a better weapon? The jawbone of a donkey or a spear and a shield? Spear is a much better weapon, but Samson just had the jawbone of a donkey. And because the Spirit of the Lord was with him, it says that with just that little weapon, he was able to fight the whole Philistine army, and he killed 1,000 men. And then after that battle, it said he was exhausted and thirsty, and he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord brought water out of the rock so that he could drink. Now I'm going to read another story that shows how strong Samson was. In this story, Samson went to a city of the Philistines called Gaza, and he stayed the night there. And when the Philistines heard that Samson was there, they said, "Let's wait for him, hide, and in the morning when he comes out, we're going to get him." It says that when the Gazites were told, "Samson has come here," they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the gate of the city. They were quiet all night, saying, "In the morning, when it is daylight, we will kill him." And Samson lay low until midnight. Then he arose at midnight, took hold of the doors of the gate of the city and the 2 gateposts, pulled them up, bar and all, put them on his shoulders, and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. So let's just imagine for a minute that those are the doors of the city of Gaza, except that they would be much, much bigger than that because they were fortress doors. They were meant to keep all the bad guys out. They were big, heavy doors. The Philistines were waiting outside the doors for Samson. But Samson obviously knew that they were there. And so at midnight, he got up and he went to those doors and he just pulled them off. Imagine if I could come to these doors and just pull the door frame and both doors right out of the wall, just like that. And then he put them on his shoulders. And remember, they were much heavier than these doors. They were like castle doors or fortress doors. And it says that he carried them up to Hebron, which was 40 miles away and uphill. Crazy thing to do. No normal person could do that, but Samson did. Yeah. Now let me ask one more thing. Where did Samson get his strength from? What were the 2 things he had to do to stay strong? Yeah? Not drink wine and not cut his hair. Now, will those things make everybody super strong? Like if we all do those things, will we all have Samson's strength? If we all don't drink wine and don't cut our hair? That's not how it works, right? Samson's strength was a special gift from the Lord. Because the truth is that all strength comes from the Lord. And when we feel like we're in trouble or when we need help, well, there's not going to be someone like Samson who comes to chase away all the bad guys or break down the doors or fix all our problems. But who is going to be there every time we need help? Yeah? The Lord. Every time we need help, the Lord will be there, and all strength in the whole world comes from the Lord. He's strong enough to fight away all the evil spirits. He's strong enough to make us feel safe. He's strong enough to protect us. No matter what happens, the Lord will be there, and He is even stronger than Samson. Amen.